Now, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities on Monday this week declared a 7-day warning strike. The unions said the declaration was made to demand the payment of 4 months of withheld salaries of their members by the federal government after a nationwide strike in 2022. Now, this followed a resolution of the Joint Action Committee of the two unions during a meeting held in Akure, Ondo State capital last week. These were contained in a communique signed by the National President of the Senior Staff Union, Mohammed Ibrahim, and made available to newsmen on Monday. Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale is here to discuss the imminent industrial action in the tertiary education sector with threats by SANU and NASU to go on strike by Monday and how to ensure a stable academic calendar in the university. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. It's such a pleasure to have you on the program.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here to you.
Right. Here we are again, strikes in the universities. What is your position on this currently? This time it's not coming from ASU, it's coming from associated associations, but it's a similar issue.
It's coming from a very unexpected source. But then they are very much a member of the university community. And what they are saying is very simple. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. That they all went on strike for 4 months. And the government responded by saying that they will not, it is no work, no pay. But later they paid the academic community, but they left them out, which is okay. But you see, what is suspicious about it is the use of strike as a collective bargaining thing in the first instance, not as a last resort. What they are saying is very well said. And the university community and even the government can ignore what they are saying or ignore their work at their own peril. Because they are very much a useful part of the academic community. In fact, without them, the community cannot function. The classes, if they are not clean, can't function there. If the taps are not running, the hostels cannot run. The students cannot go to school. If they are not functioning, there will be no catering in the community. So it is in the interest of the academic community, led by the chancellor, to even help them to talk to government to sort it out for them. It is a legitimate request. Although, if you look at it, the dictum of no work, no pay is very just. You get me? Once you have violated the rules in declaring industrial action, you have to pay for it. If you are not satisfied, you go to the industrial court, and then there's an arbitration there. But as it is now, I think what they are saying is legitimate. If they don't listen to them, let me just use an analogy here. You know, parts of the body have various functions. There was the story that the head started bragging, the brain, that it knows everything. The mouth says without the mouth you cannot eat, and so on. And the anus spoke and they laughed at the anus and they shut up. So the head got foggy, the hands got, that's the situation here. People should not underrate them because they are not at the top of the university system. They even said it themselves. That they suspect some people are pressuring government to go against them, to even discredit government. So it is the interest of government to look after them. I think it's mad.
Your analogy is, I'm still stuck on that for a moment. But
the thing will stop.
But, you know, let's talk a bit, Mr. Sobowale, about, of course, you said that it's in the interest for the government to listen to what's to their grievances, because right. It makes perfect sense. But in the midst of all these potential disruptions to the academic calendar, how do we ensure that, you know, that it's relatively stable with all the threats of strike action and warnings and everything?
You know, there's relative peace now. Mm-hmm. In the university, ASU, they are calm. It's the NLC now that is in the forefront or war front. And we pray these people too do not join. I'm sure they will take care of them. It's not that they are too important, but they are so crucial to the functioning of the academic community and the entire university community. And there are about 50 universities involved. Now, 50 and people they have families. They wonder what their children are doing at home. So I'm sure government will move fast to listen to them. But what they are saying is not illegitimate. But what I do not like is the forced use of strike. Even though they said they have negotiated. You see, the strike option is meant to be used as a last resort. But if you make it too frequent, it loses its power. You get me? To prompt management to act in a way that it will stop any industrial dispute. So the ball is in the court of government to make sure that people do not recall the experience of ASU, which has literally destroyed our university system, that students cannot have fixed period to continue their courses. And I even heard that in some universities, people are forced to sign that a medical course that will take about 5 years should take 8 years, and they should sign. That is not all. And I hope that is a thing of the past. So it is in the interest of government to listen to them. They are as much a very important part of the university system, functioning efficiently and successfully. So the ball is in the court of government to do the needful and make sure they are rewarded as they want and the system does not collapse.
And this was supposed to be a very big week for education, especially for tertiary education in Nigeria. The much anticipated student loan scheme was supposed to have been launched tomorrow, Thursday, but of course they've now said that it has been postponed indefinitely. Now, during this period of postponement, I'm sure they have other housekeeping issues that they're sorting out. But, when you look at the threat of strike, when you look at some of the phenomenon like what you've mentioned, the extended courses of study and so forth, do you think that the government needs to bring all of these associations to the table so that when the student loan schemes are launched, everybody everybody moves in one accord? Because now you're putting young people at risk of accumulating debt for an indefinite period of time because you don't know when you're going to graduate.
Right. You see, the people who implement the law scheme in the university are these people threatening to go on strike. These are the administrators. You get me? The registrar's office, the bursar's office. These are people who are in the front line of dealing with the student. So it is very, very pertinent that you have pointed it out. So government too should see that. Perhaps, you never know, maybe part of this must have made government to postpone that. Although that one too has its own in 3 cases. It is all right to give people loan. In my own time, they did not give us loan, thank God. we had bursary. We could get bursary from the federal government, from state government, because states were competing with each other to start universities and to make sure that the students went to school. They did not. They were even giving them motorcycle allowance and things like that as incentive to come to school. And those states are reaping them now. So the present leadership should have a look at that. The loan scheme is a very, very important thing. Although I don't like the prospect of young people being loaded with loan very early in life. But then it will help them through. It will help them through and they'll be able to earn a living. But this industrial action should be nipped in the bud. You can look at all the intricacies, the legalities, and all that. But at the end of the day, when it's the two elephants fight, it's the students that bear the brunt of all these collective bargaining, industrial relations, disharmony. So government should please act fast on that. It's a plea. Look into whatever they are saying.
Well said, Mr. Sobowale. Of course, we both know how passionate you are about education, and you stating your reservations about the loans and everything. Right. But what other aspects would you also like to see the government address besides these grievances that have been highlighted to make our education, sector maybe similar to what you experienced when you had the bursary? Because it does sound like you had a much better experience.
There were not many. There were about 10 universities then. You have over 90 universities now. So the issue is for government, you see, you will accuse me of bias again, to pump more money into education. And ultimately, you see, if they can marry it with competing demands of people, make education free. You got me? Education is the biggest, like Mandela said, is the biggest weapon that any country can use to develop. Once your youths are educated, they can fend for themselves and contribute to the economy. They are purchasing power. Then even the political system will not be tense. Although underlying all that is security, there must be security. A state now where some people don't want schools to operate, don't want girls to go to school. It's not conducive to economic development. But you see, at the tertiary level, that's they still make tremendous contribution to development of this country. Government should put in more money and make sure that they are funding tertiary education very well. I think maybe in this particular instance, now I think we have 5% in this present budget. We are supposed to have 20% for education. But that is it, to give financial incentive to make sure the university system is working well, that students have education in a conducive environment with the amenities, facilities they need for especially the scientific and digital courses, which are very relevant now. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Mr. Dayo Sobowale, thank you so much for your contribution. And we look forward to continuing this conversation about education, hopefully without strikes.
Free education too.